Welcome to Prime Power USA, where America's biggest stories unfold. Stay informed, stay powerful.
All of these indictments caused Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, no, he says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign, and he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal, but he started the whole thing, and there were a lot of dishonest people, and I suspect they'll be caught.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine if I had pulled Fox News' credentials from the White House press corps. You're laughing, but no, this is what's happening. Imagine if I'd said to law firms that were representing parties that were upset with policies my administration had initiated, that you will not be allowed into government buildings.
Before we get into this crazy story, please like the video if you miss having a president like Barack Obama, and subscribe because Trump keeps giving people something new to talk about every day. So here's what happened, and tell me in the comments when you first felt that Trump had completely lost control. For me, it was when the 79-year-old posted an AI-generated video showing Barack Obama being arrested. Yes, it really happened. If you don't believe it, comment and I'll share the link to his Truth Social post. On June 17th, 2025, Obama appeared in Hartford, Connecticut, and that night he spoke for 67 minutes, strongly criticizing Trump without even saying his name once.
I mean, what was unusual for me was obviously a lot of what I represented. Yeah. A lot of what Michelle and I had tried to project, the values, our thinking about America. You know, my successor seemed to represent the opposite.
Right.
Not seemed, did.
Yeah.
And so I think there was a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, some fear among a big chunk of the country.
Obama stands there speaking calmly. And tell me in the comments what you like most about his speaking style. For me, it's his calm, professor-like tone that makes him sound thoughtful and controlled. He said, "If you regularly follow what is being said by those in charge of the federal government right now, there is a weak commitment to democracy." It was a strong and direct statement. Watching it, you could feel how powerful the moment was, and it's easy to imagine that it really got under Trump's skin.
We will punish you economically for dissenting from the Affordable Care Act or the Iran deal. We will ferret out students who protest against my policies. It's unimaginable that the same parties that are silent now would have tolerated behavior like that from me or a whole bunch of my predecessors. So, and I say this not on a partisan basis. This has to do with something more precious, which is, who are we as a country and what values do we stand for?
Then Obama makes an even stronger point. He says, in 2020, one person won the election, and it wasn't the person complaining about it. He adds, and that's just a fact. He also jokes that his inauguration had more people. After that, Trump, who is 79, posted a video on Truth Social that showed a fake scene of FBI agents tackling and handcuffing Obama while the song YMCA played in the background.
And the reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, because it was my economy. We had had 75 straight months of job growth.
that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts. His other big economic plan now is to slap tariffs on everything, from food to TVs.
You're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've
He
seen...
needs help.
Have you seen pictures of the architecture? And
Yeah, I did. It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You know, I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggest that you get them involved. But they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget, and I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories, but that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. Nobody knew it.
What do you miss most about having Barack Obama as president? For me, it was having someone who spoke clearly and calmly, who didn't post angry or revenge-focused messages on social media, and who showed class and dignity in public. Things escalated when Donald Trump began sharing QAnon-related images online that called for public military tribunals for Obama, which made the situation feel even more extreme and intense.
Each time we've gotten closer to those ideals, somebody somewhere has pushed back. The status quo pushes back. Sometimes the backlash comes from people who are genuinely, if wrongly, fearful of change. More often it's manufactured by the powerful and the privileged who want to keep us divided and keep us angry and keep us cynical because that helps them maintain the status quo and keep their power and keep their privilege. And you happen to be coming of age during one of those moments. It did not start with Donald Trump. He is a symptom, not the cause. He's just capitalizing on resentments that politicians have been fanning for years. A fear and anger that's rooted in our past, but it's also born out of the enormous upheavals that have taken place in your brief lifetimes.
The situation became even more dramatic when talk of military tribunals started being mentioned. Supporters argued online about whether Barack Obama represented steady leadership, while critics of Donald Trump said his reactions seemed driven by personal anger. Later, during a meeting in the Oval Office with Bongbong Marcos, Trump publicly accused Obama of treason, which is considered a very serious crime. The accusation appeared to stem from ongoing political tensions between them, further escalating the rhetoric between the two former presidents.
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up that came out of the vaults. They were there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We got Barack Hussein Obama. They're the ones, and then you have many, many people under them. Susan Rice, they're all there. The names are all there. And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information and nobody will ever see it again, but it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff. Never has a thing like this happened in the history of our country. And by the way, it morphed into the 2020 race. And the 2020 race was rigged, and it was a rigged election. And because it was rigged, we have millions of people in our country. We had inflation. We solved the inflation problem. But millions and millions of people came into our country because of that. And people that shouldn't have been, people from gangs and from jails and from mental institutions, people that we don't want in our country, and people that we're getting out, dangerous people. 11,888 murderers, many of them 50%, more than 50%, murdered more than one person. I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but you know, they asked me a question. I got to answer the question. No, Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden, and so were the rest of them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I won that election by a lot, I did it a third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the popular vote. But I won that all the same way in 2020. And look at the damage that was caused.
Now think about this for a moment. What quality do you think Donald Trump might feel most competitive about when it comes to Barack Obama? Some people point to Obama's calm and thoughtful speaking style. Others mention his strong public image, his family life with Michelle Obama, or the fact that he won the popular vote in both of his elections. Supporters often highlight these differences as key contrasts between the two leaders, which continues to fuel debate and strong reactions on both sides.
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House.
Supporters often compare the two very differently. They say Barack Obama focused on thoughtful speeches about democracy and unity, while Donald Trump frequently uses social media in ways that spark controversy. Some critics argue that Obama worked to bring people together and earned respect from many world leaders, whereas they feel Trump's style is more divisive. At the same time, Trump's Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has claimed there was wrongdoing involving Obama in 2016. Even though that was the year Trump won the election, which has led to confusion and debate among observers. Ultimately, the discussion often comes down to a bigger question for voters. If Obama were constitutionally allowed to run for a third term, would people choose him over Trump? That hypothetical continues to spark strong opinions on both sides.
She's proved time and time again that her orientation is, this is how we can help communities. Donald Trump, he's got the opposite orientation. And, you know, this is somebody who has a history of looking down and disparaging people who are not like him. And this is well documented, right? I mean, his father built a business not renting to black people and was very explicit about it and was sued for it. And you know, when Donald Trump wasn't even in politics, you have the case of the Central Park Five, where 5 young black kids, teenagers, are accused of beating a woman in Central Park. And he's taking out full-page ads saying they should be put to death. Turns out they were innocent.